Thank you all again for being here today. We are extremely excited to have this wonderful 4-day program starting today. And we're extremely fortunate again to have with us today Swami Mukundanand. So a little bit about Swami Mukundanand. He is a world-renowned authority on yoga, spirituality, and mind management techniques. He is the founder of JK Yog, a non-profit organization with centers in India, USA, and Singapore. Swamiji is establishing Jagadguru Kripalu University in Odisha, India, with a vision of inspiring minds and illuminating intellects. Swamiji is a captivating speaker and whose discourses are attended by thousands of people in India and abroad. He is frequently invited to speak at various premier institutes of the world, such as MIT, Yale, Stanford, Kellogg, Princeton, etc., and Fortune 500 companies such as Google, Oracle, Intel, Yahoo, American Airlines, etc. Swamiji has written several books on various subjects, including yoga, art of mind management, healthy diet, and the Bhagavad Gita. Once again, please put your hands together today and welcome Swami Mukundanand. Thank you so much for
Radhe, thank you, Poojaji, for the warm welcome. It is indeed a pleasure to be back at the Hindu temple of Minnesota at Minneapolis amidst all the wonderful devotees. And my heartfelt appreciation to the Hindu Society of Minnesota and the Dr. Das Foundation for having jointly organized this 4-day-long yoga meditation workshop and series on the science of mind management. In 2019, we had discussed pure philosophy, how to attain God. This time we'll discuss applied spirituality, how to improve our life. All of us wish to become better people. We wish to make our lives a success. So what does success truly mean? What does it mean to make your life successful? It has 3 aspects to it. The first is to be the best person that you can be. To be good, that is successful. The second, to do the best that you can do. That is the second part, to do good. And the consequence of these 2 is that you feel joyful and happy, to feel good. So these 3 then are the goals of life. To be good, to do good, and to feel good. What do we have to achieve this goal? The resources at our command is our body, the education we have received, the family connections, your finances, your property, material assets. But there are some people who actually had very little and they succeeded. And there are others who had practically everything and yet they failed. Take a look at the first example. There is a lady called Sindhutai Sapkal. Has anybody heard her name, Sindhutai Sapkal? She was born in the village region of a poor area of India. in Wardha district of Maharashtra, which is the cotton belt, very arid land. Her parents were so poor, it was a struggle for life. As a 6-year-old, she used to take the buffaloes to graze. And when the buffaloes would immerse in the lake, she would go to school, but the teacher would beat her because she came late. And when she returned to the buffaloes, the neighbors would beat her because the buffaloes had entered their fields. This was her childhood. When she became an adolescent, she was married off to a person who was twice her age. From her husband, she had 3 children. And when she was 23 years old, the 4th child was in her womb. She was a little bit of an activist, and the women in that area were being exploited by a cow dung, gobar mafia, that would force them to gather cow dung from the fields, which they would then sell off as manure, etc. She went and complained to the district collector, the government administrator of the district, and he took punitive action against the mafia. So the head of that gang, he got annoyed and he played a scheme on her. He went and told her husband, I have actually got a secret affair with your wife, and the child in her womb is not yours, it is mine. The husband believed. After that man departed, he started beating his wife and kicking her on the stomach. And she fainted unconscious. He pulled her into the cow shed, thinking that she will be trampled to death and they will think it's a natural death. But destiny had other things in mind. One cow stood on top of her and protected her. That was where at night she gave birth to her 4th child. Now there was no maternity ward. She took a stone to cut the umbilical cord and took the baby and went to her parents. The parents refused to take her back. She started living on the cremation ground by the bank of the river because nobody would come out there at night. There was no danger of abuse. So how to eat? She would beg. Sometimes she would take the grain she got and cook it on the funeral pyres burning there. Many times she contemplated suicide along with her child. This lady is still alive this year. She got the Padma Shri award from the government of India. I'm telling you her story. And JK Yog awarded her the International Women's Award for Excellence. And she gave a speech to us online on Zoom. So, she contemplated suicide. She went and lay down on the railway track with her child. But then she heard a moan and she found an old man suffering. She went to help the man with food and water. In that she experienced happiness. And she thought, maybe I can find meaning in my life by helping the poor and needy. But then I don't have anything. How can I help anyone? She saw the branch of the tree on her head, which was half cut and was dangling and yet giving her shade. She thought, if this poor half-cut branch can shelter me, I can also maybe help someone. That's when she found the calling of her life. On the railway station were the street children. In every city of the world you have street children abandoned, and they are the ones who become criminals later on. So she took the children under her care and she would beg and feed them and take care of them. She had about 15 children. It came to the notice of pious people who started helping her. They made a shelter for her. And slowly she came to be known as the mother of the orphans. Now those children became more and more. She mothered 1,000 children. Many of them became graduates, postgraduates, PhDs, those 3 children. And her own 4th child, she went and gave in an orphanage so that she should not partial towards her child. She started winning awards around the world. By today, she has won 350 awards. She says the crowning moment of my life came when an old man came to me for shelter. And when she blinked and looked, she recognized it was her old husband. And she took him in. No grudge, no resentment. But not as a husband, as a child. And she said, he is my naughtiest child. So look at this lady who had nothing. And yet, if we use the parameter we made to be good, to do good, and to feel good, she succeeded on all 3 grounds. What did she have to succeed? We will discover. First, let's look at the other side. Some of you may remember from the 1980s, there was a person called Howard Hughes. He was, at that time, the richest man in the world. In his youth, he had an airlines, and he was delving in Hollywood, where he used to produce movies and have affairs with the most beautiful actresses. His wealth was so much, you can estimate. When he went to Las Vegas and stayed at the Desert Inn penthouse suite, after 4 weeks, the manager wanted to throw him out, so he purchased the whole hotel. His hobby was to see movies at night, old Hollywood movies. And there was no TV station in Las Vegas broadcasting such movies. So he purchased a TV station to fulfill his interest. However, he lost control over his mind. And the thoughts became nastier and nastier. He would feel that he is getting attracted by germs from the outside. He would think of his own body as free from germs and be fearful of germs from the outside. It became a phobia in his middle age. And for eating, he would cover his hands with double tissue papers to eat. His servants had strict instructions how to hold the plates with tissue papers and serve. He would cover his feet with tissue paper. If ever he came to know that a servant at home had fallen sick, he would think that the viral load had increased so much, he would incinerate his entire wardrobe. The last 15 years of his life, he would spend in darkened rooms, just sitting inside, moving between Nicaragua, some hotel there, Bahamas, Las Vegas, Ireland, and Canada, until he passed away. This person had everything, and yet use your criteria to be good, to do good, to feel good. He failed on all 3. So what did Sindhutai Sabkar do that Howard Hughes did not do? What was the difference? Obviously nothing on the external. It was the internal, the mind. She learned how to bring sublime and noble thoughts to her mind. And that is what transformed her life. While Howard Hughes lost control over his mind and brought so much of inauspiciousness to him, our Vedas tell us that look, the cause of bondage and liberation in this world is not the tilaks that you put on your head, or the clothes that you wear. It is your mind and mind alone. Mana eva manushyanam karanam bandha mokshayo, the Panchadashi states. Chetaha khalvasya bandhaya muktaye jatmano matam guneshu saktam bandhaya ratam va punsi muktaye. In the Bhagavad, Maharshi Kapil is telling his mother Devahuti. You know Kapil Bhagavan, avatar of God. He is telling Devahuti, "Oh mother, this mind is the mischief maker. When it is attached to the objects of the senses, you are in bondage. When it gets attached to God, you will be liberated. Even in the world, your happiness does not depend on where you are or what you have. It all depends on the thoughts that you keep in your mind." The Western philosopher John Milton, he said, "The mind is a place of its own. In itself, it can make heaven out of hell and hell out of heaven." This mind is so interesting, you may be in heaven. And if the mind is agitated, you will experience the torments of hell. And you may be in the most hellish circumstances, the slums of Dharavi. And if the mind is calm and peaceful, you will experience the bliss of heaven. So our happiness is a consequence of the thoughts that we keep. One king was walking on the terrace of his palace. He was pondering over his difficulties, some quarrel with the queen and disobedience from the prince and rebellion from one side of the kingdom. So much of unhappiness. When he heard sounds of mirth and laughter from the side of his palace. There was the hut of a poor family and they were laughing away joyfully. The king thought, how is this possible? I am the king of the land and I am unhappy and this poor family is happy. He called his minister and he said, "Minister, what is the secret of this poor family's happiness?" The minister said, "O king, you want to know the secret of happiness? It is a priceless wisdom. You will not get it free. It will cost you 99 gold coins." The minister said, "It's a small price." He asked his servants to bring the gold coins. They were handed over to the minister. The mantri tied them in a cloth, made a bundle. It was night time. He threw it before the poor family's hut. When the family woke up, they saw a bundle in front of their house. Now they were suspicious. Is somebody doing jadoo tona? Or is this a terrorist attack? If you see something, say something. Then they picked up the courage to open it and they saw the yellow metal sparkling. They said, "Wow, we have got gold. God is so kind." We had seen gold earlier, but it was through the window panes of jewelry shops. And today we are the proud owners of gold. How much did God give to us? They counted. 1, 2, 3, 4, 51, 52, 53, 96, 97, 98, 99. Then they said, what kind of number is 99? If God had to give us, He should have given us straight 100. What is the purpose of 99? Now they became unhappy. So they said, never mind, God has given us 99, we will earn by ourselves. They set up a scheme. Every day, the husband is going to increase the income, the wife is going to do some savings, and after so many months, the savings will accumulate. They will purchase the 100th gold coin. The day the saving would not happen, a fight would begin at home. The wife would say, you did not do a good job in selling from your thela. You should have tried better. The husband would say, you spent too much. What was the need of putting ghee in the dal? Now the fight would begin. So, after 1 month, the king was again walking on the terrace of his palace, and from the same hut, sounds of fighting were coming. The king said, what happened to them in 1 month, such a metamorphosis? He called the minister and said, where has all their happiness gone? The minister said, O king, this is called the vicious trap of 99. This family is thinking what they have is not enough to be happy because it is only 99. Earlier they were happy in the moment. Now they are thinking happiness is in the future. So they are chasing a future happiness, and life is passing by in the present. So the secret of happiness is not in what you have, but in how you think. And think about it. Are we not all in the trap of 99? You are living in the most opulent country in the world. Are you happy? Swamiji, not now, not as yet. Right now I have just got an H-1B visa. When I get green card, then I will be happy. So, happiness is there. If you ask the people in India, you see there's a big line in front of American embassy. They think if we get a visa to America, it is like getting a visa to Golok. The people in America must be happy. So when I come and ask the Indians that now you are here, are you happy? Not now, Swamiji. In future I will be happy. But even in America, my lecture was going on in Tampa, Florida. On the last day, one Western lady asked me, Swamiji, where are you going from here? I said, I'm going to New York. New York? She became all goggle-eyed. Oh, the land of Broadway and Times Square. So the New Yorkers must be happy. So I went to New York and I said, you know, what does the rest of America think of you? That you people are happy. Are you actually happy? But see, you don't need to ask a New Yorker whether they are happy. You just look at their face, they are all sad. Because if you don't find parking space in Manhattan, and then you have to travel by metro, then automatically the happiness is squeezed out. So, all of us are chasing a future happiness. And we don't realize this is the trap of 99. The secret of happiness is to learn to change your thoughts. We all have 2 clothes to wear and 2 rotis to eat. Can you not learn to enjoy what you have? If you just count your blessings. This mind is the secret to happiness. And the mind is also the secret to good health. See, when you harbor happy thoughts, it will impact your whole body. These cells of ours are listening to the thoughts in the mind. So when we change the thought vibrations, the chemical reactions change, your blood composition changes. By your thoughts you can poison your blood, or you can fill it with nectar. Thought by thought. See, if 50 years ago, if one Swamiji told doctors that the mind can impact the health, all doctors would have said this is all new age nonsense. But now medical science has verified. In the Harvard Medical School, there is the mind-body department. They have realized that 50% of the physical ailments have a correlation with the thinking process. Merely by thinking, we all know the heartbeat increases or decreases. The BP increases or decreases. So this is the power of mind over matter. In the Yoga Vasisht, thousands of years ago, there's a conversation that was recorded. Bhagavan Ram, he toured his kingdom and he saw people afflicted by vyadhi or disease. So Ram came back to his Guru Maharshi Vasisht and he said, Gurudev, what is the cause of vyadhi, disease? Vasisht gave an answer that would be eye-opening to the Harvard Medical School. He said, Ram, it has the connection with the mind. When we harbor thought poisons, anger, fear, anxiety, hatred, these thought poisons, they disrupt the flow of vital energy, the vital current. This is the pranamaya kosh. So when the manamaya kosh gets agitated, the pranamaya kosh becomes irregular. It becomes unnaturally distributed, the vital currents. And the consequence is your pranic sheath is disturbed. That pranic sheath then disturbs the cross sheath and it manifests as disease. So of course disease has got so many reasons. Karmas, wrong eating, etc. But the mind connection is also there. See, I'm just telling you on this, the importance of mind management, then we'll get into the details. So the third thing, your effectivity at work is also dependent on the mind. It's not just how much you learn. You know, when I went to business school, we had at that time 80 students in our batch. And the student who did the worst, he was a 3-pointer out of 9. He was the one who went maximum high in the corporate world. He became international director of Nokia when it was at the top. So it had no correlation with his knowledge of management sciences. The mind is important. That is why when I give lectures in business schools, I tell them, look, you people are competent. You are learning such wonderful knowledge, how to manage machines, information systems, finances, market environment, human personnel. But are you learning how to manage your mind? Supposing you feel demotivated, do you know how to become motivated? Supposing the problem disappoints you, do you know how to build up your enthusiasm? Supposing somebody insults you, do you know how to remain equipoised? Have you learned mind management? The manager, manage thyself first. That is where it should start. In San Francisco, one Professor Rosenthal, he did an experiment. So in one big school, with the approval of the principal, this experiment was done. In each grade, the school had many sections, 15, 20 sections. At random, 3 teachers were chosen. At random. But they were told, we have selected you on a secret criteria and we have found you are extremely promising teachers. So we will assign the best students to you with most potential. and the students were chosen at random. But they were told, on a secret criteria, we have discovered that you have got great potential, so we are assigning you to the best teachers. This was double-blind test. The students were chosen at random, the teachers were chosen at random, but they were told that this is very, very special. So the mindset changed. Something is happening out here. And the consequence? Their academic performance of the students was measured for 1 year. The same syllabus, same everything. But at the end of the year, their performance had gone up by 20 to 30%. When the student would not understand, the teacher would think, it's my fault, I need to explain better. And the student would think, I am specially privileged, I need to work hard. If I don't understand, let me go separately and ask the teacher. And he would also take time out. So finally, when the results came and the teachers were informed, your students have improved, they said, that is obvious. They were good students. You told us in the beginning they are good students. The teachers were told they were not good students, they were chosen at random. They said that we were good teachers, you told us that we were promising teachers. They were told you were also chosen at random. So it was a double-blind test, but what changed? Only the mindset. So if you want to be a star performer in your work, it is not just the knowledge you have, but the mindset you bring to it. You see, people say, what is the importance of spirituality to my life? And I am telling you, it will make you healthier, it will make you happier, it will make you better in your work. Just to say free, forget about everything else. So this mind, Franklin Roosevelt, the ex-American president, he said, people are not prisoners of destiny. You don't need to get vibhuti from here and there. He said, people are prisoners of their own mind. The West English writer Samuel Johnson, he said, to one whose mind is agitated, no amount of medicine or exercise or physics is of any use. And 2000 years ago, Jagat Guru Shankaracharya said, see, this is now the final verdict. He says, Jagat Jitam Kena, who shall conquer the world? And the answer he gave was Manohiyena, that person. Now he did not say those who have got better drone technology. It is the inner technology, mind management. Manohiyena, those who have conquered the mind. Now we know there was one Swamiji who came from India and he influenced the whole world, Swami Vivekananda. But do you know that before leaving India, he made a statement which is so interesting. He said, I shall lift my mind to such heights that I inspire people everywhere until the world realizes it is one with God. He knew the importance of mind management. In any field of work, whether you are a Swami or you are a house maker or anything, it is always that one mind. So, what is the nature of this mind? Let's try and understand. This mind is a subtle machine. Sometimes people ask, what is the difference between the brain and the mind? Neurology is still figuring this out. What is the brain? What is the mind? I've read neurology journals. There's so many viewpoints, but no clarity. And our Vedas say it's very simple. The brain and the mind can be compared to the computer of today, which has the hardware and the software. So every computer has its hardware, the RAM, the hard drive, etc., and then the software that uses the hardware. So likewise, like the hardware is our brain, and like the software is the mind. This mind is subtle. It is sukshma energy. So our gross instruments are not able to touch it. But you can detect its work. And what is the work of the mind? It creates thoughts. It is the factory of the thoughts. So your mind is constantly creating thoughts. Now, scientists can detect there are alpha waves, beta waves. When you start meditating, the waves change. When you do creative thinking, the waves change. So these waves are detecting the functioning of the mind, which is a machine that is creating thoughts. So we will discuss how this mind creates thoughts. We are discussing the science of mind management. Do note, the mind is an internal resource. It is something that all of us possess. No, somebody can say, I don't have an eye. Someone can say, I don't have a hand. But nobody can say, I don't have a mind. This resource is available to all of us to tap into. And we discussed through the mind, you can be happy, you can be effective in your work, and you can improve your health. So we should count the blessing of God that we have received. Sometimes people count that 100th coin which they don't have in their life. I'm only systems analyst. If I become systems manager, I'll be happy. I was telling you the blessings of God. See, in COVID times, we are sitting and having such a big program. How is this happening? It is the blessing of God. This technology we are using, we take it for granted. Without it, again, so this is the blessing of God. We have so many blessings in our life. Everybody's life has got a cup which is half empty and half full. Either you keep crying about what you don't have, or you use what you have. I was once giving a lecture in a small town in Odisha. A place called Aska, which in those days had a population of 20,000. So I had a habit of morning walk. In the morning I went out for a walk, walked out of the town, and there was a river and a bridge crossing the river. So I saw a man standing on the railing of the bridge. He was looking at the river. I realized he is thinking of committing suicide. He was contemplating to jump from 70 feet. What to do? I was 30 yards away. By the time I start running, he will have jumped. So I screamed, "Stop!" Now he hesitated. And if somebody is committing suicide, they hesitate in the moment, then they don't. He jumped off. By the time I ran and caught his hand, so he doesn't try again. I said, "Why were you doing this?" He said, "Babaji, God has given me nothing. I am a beggar, his clothes were all torn. I am such a poor man, I have got only misery in my life and nothing else." So I said, "That's all. No big deal. I will arrange 10 lakh rupees for you." From our devotees, in those days 10 lakhs equal to 1 crore of today. I'll arrange 10 lakhs for you. Then will you be happy? Yes, yes, yes. Then I will not commit suicide. I said, but in exchange, you will have to give me one thing. He said, what? I said, give me your eyes. You do surgery and remove your eyes. I will give you 1 crore. I said, no. If I am blind, then what is the use of living? I said, you are not willing to change your eyes for 1 crore. That means the eyes are more valuable than 1 crore rupees, 10 million rupees. You are saying God has given me nothing. Well, obviously He has given you eyes that are so valuable. Nevertheless, you take 5 lakh rupees. Okay, but then you will have to give me your legs. He was not willing. I kept on putting a price at the limbs and parts of his body. I said, look, you have got 25 lakhs right here. He realized there are so many blessings that we have received. See, all of us sitting in the hall, is anybody blind? I cannot see anyone. We've got these eyes fitted with 125 million receptors each, with the help of which you can see the beauty of the rainbow and its 7 colors, the glory of the eagle in flight, the amazing aesthetics of the crimson sky and the setting sun. Count it as a blessing of God. Is anybody out here deaf? Of course not, otherwise why would you sit for the lecture? You are fitted with 24,000 fibers with which you can hear sound waves from 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz. You can relish the rustling of the leaves in the wind, the breaking of the waves on the rock, the sound and mirth of children in laughter. Count it as yet another blessing. Just ensure the mic is off. Okay, all mics will be off except this one. So, is anybody out here dumb? Of course not. We have got this tongue and a vocal cord with the help of which you can speak words to inspire others, words to uplift others, words to console others. Count it as another blessing of God. This brain of ours is fitted with 100 billion neurons that can form trillions of circuits, with the help of which you can remember the faces of your friends. You can remember your past activities. You can plan out the future activities. Count it as yet another blessing. This heart in our body, it pumps 100,000 times every day. That means 36.5 million times in a year. And it just goes on and on and on. This musculoskeletal system at our command, with 205 bones and 630 muscles, is fitted with 5 million pain sensors to inform you if something is going wrong, 500,000 heat sensors, and 200,000 touch sensors. This amazing body of ours. Only problem is the mind inside. And that is what we need to figure out. So this mind we discussed is creating thoughts, and the thoughts are impacting us. Now if we think harmful thoughts, our face changes. That is why you look at somebody and say, don't trust this guy. Kuch dal mein kala hai. Very suspicious character. How do you know? You know his face. So the thoughts that were being harbored, they chisel the face. You look at somebody else and say, so kind-hearted. How do you know? You know, the thoughts of kindness, they change the appearance. So these thoughts are bundles of energy that are getting created. And the thoughts are precursors to our actions. Just like from the seed, the plant comes out. The seed is the cause of the plant. No tree can come without the seed. And from bad seeds, bad trees come, poison ivy, etc. From good seeds, you get the banyan tree, etc. Likewise, when we harbor bad thoughts, they convert into bad actions. When we harbor good thoughts, they convert into good actions. So if we wish to improve our actions, you have to start by improving your thoughts. It's a simple formula. And when you start improving your thoughts, you will realize that these thoughts also change the circumstances. The circumstances that come in your life don't come automatically. This universe is not working by the play of dice. The amazing universe, from the tiniest Higgs boson to the biggest galaxies, is so well designed. It's perfectly designed. Hence our scriptures say, Ishavasyamidam sarvam. The whole world is full of God. Now we say, oh my God, this world is so bad, so terrible. But if it is full of God, then how can it be bad? It is perfectly designed not for our comfort. It is perfectly designed to help us grow and evolve to higher and higher levels of consciousness. Sometimes a little bit of misery is necessary to wake us up. So God says, these people are sleeping and forgetting the purpose of life. Let me send them a coronavirus. So they become detached. The goal was not to eat rasgulla and peda and be happy in that. Life had a higher purpose. These circumstances come for a reason. And they remain as long as they serve the purpose. Like for example, suppose God decided that for you, the big lesson to learn right now is to how to manage your anger. So what will the circumstances do? They'll give you provocations. You found this neighbor who always makes you angry. And you say this neighborhood is bad. Let's go to the other one. There you found another neighbor who makes you angry. Then you went to the third one, and finally you said, all the neighbors are like this. Let me try and remove anger from inside. You turned inwards. And when you turned inwards, you removed or subdued the anger. So that the circumstances that were coming have served their purpose now. They are not relevant for you. God will not need to send you a neighbor who irritates you. You have learned that lesson in your evolutionary journey. He will then create a next set of circumstances for the next lesson. This is how the soul keeps evolving. So our thoughts and the circumstances are connected. We people don't realize the connection. We think, I am a victim of my circumstances. That poor fellow became a victim, and that is why he became a drug addict, and that is why he committed murder, and that is why he went to jail. Nobody is a victim of circumstances. They had the evil thought. The circumstances provided the opportunity. All our life we are fighting with circumstances. Instead of that, fight with your own mind. When you improve from inside, the circumstances will improve. Consider, there is one boy born in poverty in the ghettos of Chicago. He goes to a poor school where there is a very depressing environment, no hope. But the mind is his own. He starts improving his thoughts. I wish I could make the world a better place. Now there is no price required for that. He's just thinking, I wish I could make the world a better place. He is developing noble thoughts, sublime thoughts. Everybody can do that. Nobody can say, I have a broken leg, I can't change my thoughts. Everybody can think good thoughts. That little boy started thinking good thoughts. And that impacted his performance. And at the end, he landed up with a scholarship to Ivy League college. Now you can say he just got lucky, but he didn't just get lucky, he attracted the luck to his life by working on the inside, by improving the inside. This is change from inside out. And then in college also, he started, instead of wasting time on movies, he was cultivating good thoughts. And the consequence, when he graduated, he met a venture capitalist who said, you are a bright, smart young boy. I have to put on a plant, factory, and I'll put you in charge. Now you meet him after 20 years, he is giving employment to 10,000 people. Now you say he just got lucky in life. But all of us can become lucky in life if we only keep changing our thoughts from inside us. So these thoughts, the internal resource that we have, we will start off by this one thought: how to be happy. Why are people unhappy? One couple, they were living in a condominium, newly married. Their classmates were living in townhouses and bungalows. So they were always unhappy. We are living in a condo, our classmates are living in townhouses. Always cursing. Until the husband lost his job and the wife did not have a job. Now they are not able to clear the mortgage. The bank said, pay it up by next Monday, or we will take the house back. They are thinking we will be on the street. Hey Bhagavan, please, please help us, please save us. We need to be rescued or we'll be on the street. On the Friday before the weekend, the husband got a job. They said, you have a job. We're giving you the advance. He said, oh God, you are so kind, I have got a house. He had the house earlier also, but he did not remember it is a blessing of God. Likewise, think of all the blessings in your life. Why do we think of the lack? Because we create these selfish desires. And we want the universe to fulfill our desires. We forget that we are for the sake of the universe, not the universe for our sake. Now suppose that one geologist, he said, let me explore the river Ganga, Ganges, and started walking from Gangotri down to Ganga Sagar with a map in the hand. The map says the Ganga should move this side, yes. The map says it should go to the right, yes, it's going. The map says it should go down, yes, it is going. So he says, yes, the Ganga is following my map. Then in one place, the Ganga was not following the map. He says, oh, the map says that it should go to the right, and it is going straight. So he became annoyed. If the Ganga will not follow my map, then what is the use of exploring? He threw the map there and angry he went off. What was the mistake he was making? He is expecting the cart to be in front of the horse, the Ganga to follow his map, whereas the map has to follow the Ganga. Likewise, the universe is not for the sake of our puny desires. We are for the sake of the universe, for the service of God. So, if we can just learn to subdue our desires, it doesn't matter so much whether your son listens to you or does not. Let it be. You will discover the art of happiness by counting your blessings. When people say, I am so sad, Swamiji, what to do? I say, I can give you 1 million reasons to be happy. 1 million? Yes. Start counting your blessings. The air that you are breathing. Have you thought about it? Ask the coronavirus patient whose SpO2 count went down to 85, who was gasping for breath, who realized that breathing is also a luxury. And we forget that this fuel is all around us, freely arranged by God. So, this is a blessing of God. It is all in the way we think. Having understood the importance of mind management today, I will conclude by what Lord Krishna said in the Gita. He said to Arjuna, Uddhared atmanatmanam atmanam avasadhayet atmaiva yatmano bandhur atmaiva ripuratmanah. He said, Arjuna, this mind can be your worst enemy. Worst enemy. I was in Seattle. One lady came to me. Swamiji, I am in trouble. I said, what happened? You know, my brother died of cancer. I said, I'm so sorry. But she said, since then I have developed a phobia. I will die of cancer. I keep thinking of cancer, cancer, cancer. And then I heard your lecture and you said we invite circumstances by our thoughts. So now I'm thinking I'll definitely die of cancer. So I said, look, I am reassuring you, you are a fully healthy person, nothing will happen to you. Ah, Swamiji, thank you so much. Please put your hand on my head. I said, if it reassures you, I will do it. So this mind can be the worst enemy, the untrained mind. And the trained mind can be your best friend. So Arjuna, don't degrade yourself by the power of your mind. Uplift yourself. Tomorrow, day after that, we will understand how to uplift this mind through the technology for mind management. Boliye Vrindavan Bihari Lal Ki Jai.